Good morning. As you've heard, the struggle is real, and it can continue. But you know what? The coming out process is also about a celebration of life. Because we get through it, we live through it, and we find ourselves. So for me, when I think about claiming my identity, the first person that we come out to is ourselves. We have to acknowledge who we are to be able to articulate in the world where we need to stand. And then once you come out to yourself, the next thought is, now who do I tell that's going to understand? So for me, that was my mother. Other than her, my world was books. That's where I lived, and it was a very safe place to be. You know, and I did not realize at the time when I came out to my mother, it was not till the end of my freshman year in college, and I came out and I didn't understand that it allowed my mother to come out with me. It allowed her to move from the cover of her marriage to be able to step into authentically being a lesbian. Didn't understand and didn't know that till freshman year. So when I told her that this is who I want to be, it didn't surprise her. Okay? She had been waiting and watching to see which road I would take. Her only question was, how could I be sure? So I devised a plan to answer that question. And off I went to a predominantly white, all-women's Catholic college to live on campus. Well, it was not until the beginning of my sophomore year in college that I came out. I lost friends. My Christian roommate moved across the campus, and I was ostracized by the students in my Afro-American club. We didn't have an LGBTQ plus club at that time on campus, so that was it for me. And to top it off, Mother decided to relocate to Florida. Boy, I could feel the waves of disapproving looks and the whispers as I walked down the halls or entered my classes. I felt the fear and the anxiety as I stepped into the dining room each day, trying to figure out where I could comfortably sit, where I would be accepted. Some days I decided, you know what, I just can't do it. I don't need to eat right now. I can go get something at the vending machine because it was too scary and too painful to have to face it that moment and that day. The other part for me, when I looked at that, I was struggling as an all-white school. I was already struggling, you know, as a black student. So this was just one more strike against me. And I was alone, or so I thought. In my freshman year, before she moved away, my mother developed a habit of calling or popping up on campus to talk to my professors. And I thought, and you know, if you've ever gone away, that college year, that's the year where you're stepping into your adulthood. You really are like, okay, parents, go away, I got this. Well, nothing is more embarrassing than have the professor peek her head in your classroom and say, Sabrina, your mother is on the phone, and she'd like to know, have you put on your long underwear, and do you have your double mittens, and do you have a hat? Because it's going to be below zero tonight. All of that adulthood just suddenly leaves the room. Okay. But as I said, my professor got the calls, and my professor said to me at one point, because she calls so often, she said, I just need to ask, is your mother Jewish? I said, no. And as I said, I thought I was alone. Mother had built an invisible system of support with 3 Jewish professors. Now I knew what the real reasons for the calls and those visits were about. Didn't understand allyship. We didn't have the word allyship. But she knew I needed support. And she knew that she was going to be 25,000 miles away. So how was I going to have her support? That was the scariest time. But I will tell you, for the remaining years in college, together, those 3 women, they served to provide me with a space, a very safe space to talk, to be heard with no judgment, and somewhere to come and feel the pain of being different. The days I just couldn't step into that cafeteria one more time. And I just needed some place to take a deep breath and know I would be able to do it again, but not today. Okay. They reinforced my mother's words to be courageous for standing up for who you are and what you believe. They even celebrated my first love on campus, which I set the whole campus abuzz about because I figured at that point, why not? You know, I've already lost, might as well enjoy the ride. They inspired me, they guided me, and they coached me on how to celebrate and hold a space for myself in this world and not be ashamed of who I was. I walked across the stage at graduation feeling no shame, no guilt, or need to explain who I was to anyone, and I have never looked back. That is not my issue. That's someone else's issue, okay? But I have been blessed. I have been blessed that I have a family that loves me. I have created different families along my journey. I have been blessed with a love of my life for 32 years and counting. Boy. And I know the feeling of those three ladies that were there for me every time I needed someplace to go. They made the difference. I don't know if I could have made it through those 4 years as a black student in that college, struggling to find my identity as a gay woman, if I had not had their support. One of them happened to be the person that ran the Afro-American Club. So every time I showed up and I got the cold shoulder, I got the dirty looks, she would make a point to quietly say, Sabrina, do you have an idea? Oh, you know what, Sabrina can do that. She showed me how to be able to be a leader and to be present and to still know I counted, I mattered, and to be visible. Their strength took me through being the person I am. I don't think I could have been the whole person I am today if it hadn't been for that particular group of allies that surrounded me with their love, their understanding, and occasionally a kick in the butt when I got really scared. So it really mattered. I choose to look at the world, and I have never stopped that. For me, the world is about an opportunity to be better and to do better. And I never see the world any different because I know that today does not equal tomorrow. If we stand together, if we believe as one, if we stand up for each other's rights, we can make that change. I know it because I've seen it. I know it because I've lived it. So when we talk about allyship, it makes a big difference on what we say, how we say it, and when we stand up as one. So for me, I look at every one of you allows me to embrace who I am. This church, Richard's Voice, allows a space to come that is safe, enriching, and I feel the love. It was so wonderful this morning to walk in and get the loves and the hugs and warm, smiling faces. Sometimes we forget the difference that a smile can make. We forget what a hug can mean. We forget that sometimes we're sitting in holy ground, somebody's sitting by themselves, just saying hello can make a difference. So I thank the church for everyone that is here and extends that warmth and that love because it matters. It really matters. And sometimes somebody's struggling and you don't know they're struggling. And you could be the difference in that smile and that hug that right then takes them, that they can take a moment and they can take that breath. Thank you for bringing my breath.